Well, it's hard to determine the state of negotiations. Now, U.S. Treasury Secretary has said that an agreement will be reached on Hormuz by Wednesday, but attacks continue in the Persian Gulf.
Well, in the latest dry bulk ship, which was reportedly hit by a projectile near the Strait of Hormuz, and on the other hand, Yemen's Houthi rebels claimed to have hit at Saudi Arabia's Najran airport.
The exchange of fire comes amid regional efforts to bring U.S. and Iran to a negotiating table. According to Qatar's foreign ministry, efforts are underway with all parties for a diplomatic solution. Pakistan Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar requested his Iranian counterpart Abbas Araghchi to visit Islamabad at his earliest convenience. Even if both sides return to the negotiating table, they will be faced with the same deadlock.
Well, red lines drawn by Washington and Tehran remain unchanged all these months later as well, and all these decades later perhaps. But any possible deal would require concessions, which no side seems to be ready to make, at least not as of now. The question is, which side hurts more with the delay?
Dr. Reza Khanzadeh is an adjunct professor in political science for West Asia and Islamic studies at George Mason University. He is now joining us live on the broadcast from Washington, D.C. Dr. Reza, thank you very much for your time. Very quickly, do you think Iran heading to Oman will do them justice?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on your program again. Good to be with you. I do think this is going to pay dividends for the Islamic Republic, much to the dislike of Trump and Washington and probably most of the global South and Asia, because it seems that fees will be a part of the transit system through the Strait, and Iran and Oman will come to some type of agreement, because Iran now has, rightfully identified that there is very little Trump can do to stop Iran from putting fees on the Strait of Hormuz. And the only other party that really has a high stakes in that type of, negotiation is Oman. So that's why Iran is sidestepping Trump and Washington, D.C. and going straight to Oman to reach a deal. And frankly, I think this is going to be a silver lining for Trump as well, because it's been over 6 months with this conflict, and Trump has been, desperately trying to find a way to find an off-ramp to leave this conflict. And this might be his chance to just, wash his hands of this and, say that this is over. And he might make a lot of comments, and just like your program has showed, over 29 times he's made these bombastic remarks and outlandish, comments. And then there's a reason why people call him Taco now. Trump always chickens out. So we don't want to base too much of what he says. And again, he's a businessman. He's a charlatan. He's not a diplomat. He's not a politician. He doesn't understand really anything of what's going on inside that region within West Asia. So that's why it's on Iran and Oman to come to an agreement, which I think they will in the short term for sure.
Dr. Khanzadeh, and one understands that the Strait of Hormuz remains, it's a geographical advantage for Iran, and that's one area, that critical waterway, Iran has made it clear time and again, it will not go back to pre-war levels. But the number of unarmed civilian vessels which have come under attack, and those have included Indian seafarers as well, time and again, these have come in from the Iranian side. Do you feel that kind of force is the banner in which Iran wants to maintain control over the Strait of Hormuz?
No, actually, I don't think that is the force that they want to, project. But at the same time, Iran has reached. So we have to understand the psychology of this regime, and this goes back all the way until the 50s, the 1950s, and the way the CIA from America and MI6 from England, ousted a democratically elected prime minister, from Iran. So this level of PTSD and trauma that this regime has continues on with them, regardless of what century we're in or what year we're in. There's this level of trauma with this regime that they cannot shake, that they cannot detach themselves from, and that lingers on with them even when it comes to their foreign policy strategy, so to speak. And that's what we're seeing with these strikes, because their psychology, this regime's psychology is that if we suffer, if we're being bombed, if we're being sanctioned, if we can't export oil, then everyone is going to suffer the way we are because we've been suffering for 40 plus years. So we can't be the only ones who are suffering. So now everyone needs to feel, and we are seeing that now because we saw Trump state how many of the Gulf countries have reached out to him saying, do not escalate this conflict. And the reason why they're saying that is because Iran has been bombing them. And so Iran is seeing that we don't want to bomb people, but it is showing signs that it's to our benefit to have this type of chaos, because then those countries will reach out to America and probably Europe in the foreseeable future to tell them, let's ease up on Iran, let's let them export oil, so that way no one suffers from this conflict.
Okay, this is an ongoing situation. Dr. Khanzadeh, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today.
Thanks again.